let's freak out together. Guys, the time has finally come for me to film my mid-year freakout tag. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I am filming this at the beginning of July, which is a little bit later than the middle of the year. But we're just gonna kind of roll with it, okay? If you've never heard of the mid-year freakout tag before, basically it is a list of questions to kind of do a little check-in with your reading. And here is the check-in for how my reading is going in the year of 2025 so far. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. So I will tell you that the first question of this book tag is, what has been your favorite book so far this year? I'm not gonna do that question first. I'm gonna save that question for last because I want to keep you on your toes, okay? I want you to know my favorite book so far last. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Question number 1 is, what was your favorite sequel for the year of 2025 so far? And I have not read a ton of sequels. I feel like mostly this year I have been reading standalones, which is terrible because I need to start reading some of the series that I'm in the middle of, but that's future Hannah's problem. My favorite sequel that I've read this year has to be Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is book number 3 of the Belladonna series, and if you guys have watched any of my previous favorite videos, I have recommended Belladonna and Foxglove both many times. However, a lot of people are not loving this one because this one does follow a different character than the previous 2 books. And I honestly didn't know how I was going to feel about that. I really went into this one with low expectations. Let's just say that I should have trusted Adeline Grace a little bit more, okay? She's never let me down before. Why would I think she's going to let me down this time? I adored this book, but in so much of a different way than I did the previous 2 books because, again, like I said, in the first 2 books, you're following a completely different main character. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details with this one just because I do not want to spoil it for you, and I want you to have your own reading experience with the series. But just know, in my personal opinion, I truly do think that this one just lives up to the other 2. Next question is a new release that you have not gotten around to reading yet. And a lot of you are going to roll your eyes at me when I show you this release because I'm pretty sure this was on one of my previous TBRs and I have not gotten to it yet. This also answers the question of a book that you've been putting off. Yeah, and I think we all know by now that it's Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is book number 3 of the Powerless trilogy. This is the final book in the trilogy. After this one, it's done. And I have heard very mixed things about this book. And if you guys know, I absolutely adore Powerless and Reckless. I loved them both so much, and both of those books mean so much to me. And just going into this one, I don't know if I've just been putting off emotionally. I just haven't picked it up yet, and I will eventually when I'm ready. Another new release that I have not gotten to yet is Watch Me by Tara Maffey. This is like a spin-off series apart from the original series, I believe, because this one follows a new main character, but I have not completed the original series yet. I have one novella left, and then I'm going to go straight into this one. So that's the whole reason why I'm putting this one off, but I am definitely going to get to this one very soon. Next question is an anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I do want you to know that I have quite a few books that I'm keeping my eye on for the second half of the year, but the 2 that I'm most excited about. The first one is Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. This is also a book number 3 of the Lakefront Billionaire series that Lauren Asher writes. I have absolutely adored the first 2 books in this series, and I just always really look forward to another Lauren Asher release. These are adult romances with open door scenes and language, so be aware of that. And the next release that I'm so excited about actually comes out next month, and that is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the sequel, or at least in the same world as The Spell Shop. This is the same author that wrote The Spell Shop, and I am so excited, guys, because The Spell Shop was such a warm hug and exactly what I wanted it to be, and I just know that this one's going to do the same. Let's talk disappointments. What was your biggest disappointments of 2025 so far? My biggest disappointments so far, I have 2. The first one is The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This saddens me just as much as it does you, okay? I am still going to watch the show. I am still going to maybe potentially try the next book, but this book was just not for me. If you watched my June wrap up, I go into a whole lot more detail of why I didn't like it. So if you're interested, go check out my wrap up. This book just tried to do too much in my opinion, and it just did not flesh out in my opinion. And then the next disappointment was actually a DNF that I had this year, and that is The Prison Healer by Lynette Noni. I was fully convinced that I was gonna love this series. I was fully convinced that I was gonna love The Prison Healer, and I got to about 40% and could not do it anymore. Yeah, that was a complete letdown. I am so excited to answer this next question because this next question is my biggest surprise this year. And I feel like I surprised the entire book community by finally becoming a fantasy reader. The entire time that I've been on BookTube, I have made it very abundantly clear that I do not read fantasy, and I have just never gone into that realm. I didn't want to. And then in January of 2025, I picked up one singular book, and I have not looked back since. So my biggest surprise of 2025 so far has to be the Fourth Wing trilogy. I picked up Fourth Wing with every intentions to hate it, and I binged this entire trilogy in a matter of a week. So yeah, and now I continue to pick up romantasy, I continue to pick up other fantasy books, and I am just like a completely different reader now. Like, I have everything to thank for this series because I have definitely gone into this new genre with open arms. This series really did take me by surprise. I really did not expect to love it as much, and I get that this is just not everybody's bread and butter, but to me, I just loved these books so incredibly much, and I cannot wait to see where she takes this series. The next question is a fun one. What is a book that made you cry? And for this one, I have two answers, and I do want to just point out something really quick. I do not like to cry in books. It makes me feel some type of way when I cry in books, but when a book makes me feel something so much so that I have to shed tears, it's more than likely going to be an all-time favorite. And I can tell you right now that both of these are up there. The first one, I feel like, made everybody cry that read it, and that is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is also one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and it did not disappoint. This will rip your heart out and then stomp on it, and then stomp on it some more, and then bury it. But it was a good book. And then the next book that made me cry is When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. This is book number 1 of the Timeless series, and so many people recommended this series to me, and I kind of went into it a little bit hesitant because I didn't know how I would love the whole time crossing thing, but I loved it. I loved it so much. This one is about a woman who is really questioning her future and understanding why she's in the place that she's at, and it has a lot of faith elements weaved throughout it, and it's just such a beautiful story. And it's just such a perfect time in my life, and I really did feel seen through this character, and it made me sob. Next question is a book that made you happy, and I feel like that this one is really hard to answer because I feel like a lot of books have made me happy this year. But the one that stuck out to me the most in answering this question is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This book is everything that people say it is and so much more. This is so cute. It's following our main character who has just lost her aunt, and she inherits her old apartment. And when she goes into her apartment, there's a man sitting there, and he's from 7 years in the past, and they strike up a romance. It's so good, guys. It's so cute, and Ashley Poston's banter between the two of them and just how wholesome and sweet it was. Oh, it was so good. This is an adult romance. It does have a couple of open door scenes throughout it, but they're easily skippable. And if you do pick this one up, just kind of know that going in, but it is so, so cute, and it will definitely make you happy. Next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you have purchased this year? And I have two for this one, And guys, I feel like nobody is talking about either one of these books. And I don't know why, because they're stunning. But this one is called Night Weaver. It is by R.M. Gray. This one has really beautiful sprayed edges. And I knew immediately when I saw it in the store, I was like, I have to have that. This one is actually a YA fantasy. And listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. This was an impulse buy, not only because of how stunning it is. It's stunning. It's stunning. And I'll show you the inside in just a minute. But there are mention of pirates in this one. So, I mean, like, that's all I really needed to know, because you guys know pirate is a buzzword of mine. So I'll give you just a second. I'll give you just a second to take a gander. How stunning. Stunning. I will not let them take me. I mean, I would love to go with pirates, I feel like. Like, where are we going, guys? And then the next book, I have heard 0 people talk about. Actually, that's a lie. I saw one girl talk about it. But before that, 0 people were talking about it. And this book came out in May. And nobody's talking about this book. It's called His Face is the Sun. I found this at Target, this specific edition. It's stunning. It's stunning. And all I know is that it's a romantasy that takes place in Egypt. And it's also young adult. That's all I know about it. I don't know if it's good. Worst book I've ever read. I don't know. But all I know, it's stunning. Next question. I actually have already answered like one of the books, but it's a book that you have been putting off and putting off. And I did mention that I am putting off Fearless for some emotional reason. And then another book that I'm currently putting off. And some of you are gonna roll your eyes at me and say, Hannah, just pick up the dang book. Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I picked up Throne of Glass first, and I was told that I shouldn't have done that. So I need to go back and read Assassin's Blade. I think, question mark, I don't know, I'm trusting you guys that know more than me. I have been putting this book off because I didn't love Throne of Glass, and it was kind of a trudge to get through, but I know the series gets better, and I know a lot of you would not lead me astray. So I've just been putting this book off for like a little while, but I am going to eventually get to it, I promise. All right, we got 2 more questions. Remember, the last one is my best book of 2025 so far, but we're gonna do this one first. What are some books that you have to get to before the end of the year? And I would like to focus on finishing some of my series. Now, is that gonna happen? Probably not. I have finished, I feel like, a good amount of series recently, but there are 3 main ones that I would like to at least get further into. The first one is Harry Potter. Ask me how long that Hannah has been reading Harry Potter for. 79 years. I'm on book 5. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Second series I want to get to is the Timeless series. I will binge the rest of these books this year. It's going to happen. Like, I already have book 3 ready to go in my Kindle. I'm going to binge the rest of these books this year. And then the third series that I do want to get to is the Throne of Glass series. As I just mentioned, I know that a lot of you wouldn't recommend me the series unless you think I would really like it, and I'm trusting you. So those are the books that I hope to get to before the end of the year. And we are finally here to talk about my favorite book of 2025 so far. I just fear that another book does not stand a chance. Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. I feel like there was a point where nobody was talking about this book, and now everybody knows about this book. You have to read this book. You have to read this book, especially if you like romance, romantasy. If you like any of the books that I've mentioned so far in this video, you've got to read this one. This is an adult romantasy book that is following our main character, Odessa. And Odessa is basically given to a prince for a bride price. So she's given to this prince to be his queen, right? And she is given a guardian to kind of watch over her and make sure she doesn't get into trouble because she's the queen now. That's all I'm going to tell you. That is literally it. Hands down, one of my favorite books of all time. Hands down, my favorite book that I've read so far this year. Hands down, one of the best books that I've read in a very long time. I loved this book so much. Again, if you like any of the things I've talked about today, if any of that sounds intriguing to you, please pick this book up. I will say, I don't remember if there was language throughout it, but I do remember there were a couple of open door scenes, but they were towards the end. It is very much a slow burn and they are easily skippable. So do with that what you will. It's so... And there you have it, my friends. That is my mid-year freak out book check-in for the year of 2025. Oh my goodness, what a year of reading it has been so far. I hope your reading is going just as well. Please let me know down below what has been your favorite book so far that you've read in 2025. I would love to know. And until next time, my friends, remember this world is a better place with you in it, and I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.